This is not a drill. A new wave of theft is sweeping across America right now, and most people have no idea what's happening. A Supreme Court ruling you probably never heard about has quietly created a dangerous gap in the rules protecting your money. The criminals know about it. The banks know about it. But you need to know about it too. Let me tell you about Margaret Chin. She's a 67-year-old retired teacher in Columbus, Ohio, who spent 40 years building $47,000 in savings. She never clicked suspicious links. She never answered calls from unknown numbers. She did everything right. One Tuesday morning at 6:14, her phone buzzed. A text from her bank said 3 withdrawals of $800 each had just been made at an ATM in Atlanta, Georgia. Margaret has never been to Atlanta. When she called her bank in a panic, the automated system told her dispute processing would take 45 to 60 business days. 45 days without access to her money. She spent the next 6 weeks eating rice and beans, unable to pay her electric bill, while her life savings sat frozen in bureaucratic limbo. This is a real case. And what happened to Margaret is now easier for banks to do to you because of a Supreme Court ruling that received almost no coverage on the evening news. The Supreme Court ruling you need to know about. In March, the United States Supreme Court issued a decision called Williams versus Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. A regular person named Williams sued the government agency that insures bank deposits, claiming his bank failed to protect him from ATM fraud and refused to refund his money in a timely manner. The case worked its way through the federal court system until it reached the highest court in America. The Supreme Court, by a vote of 6-3, ruled that old rules about bank liability for ATM fraud no longer apply. 6-3. That is not a divided court making a confusing decision. That is a clear majority saying existing protections are no longer adequate. What this actually means for you: under the old system, if someone cloned your debit card and drained your account at an ATM in another state, the bank had to refund your money within specific timeframes enforced by federal regulations. That protection is now weakened. The majority opinion created what legal scholars call a regulatory vacuum, a gap in the rules with no one in charge of filling it until Congress acts. Banks can now claim certain types of ATM fraud fall outside their responsibility. The burden of proof has shifted from the bank having to prove it wasn't negligent to you having to prove the bank was negligent. The criminals already know this. Do you? This ruling came at the exact moment that a new generation of ATM scam technology has flooded the black market. Criminal rings in Eastern Europe are selling complete fraud kits on encrypted platforms. These kits include everything a thief needs to clone your card, bypass your PIN, and empty your account. The devices used to clone cards now fit inside a shirt pocket. Your money is under attack from weapons you cannot see, built by people you will never meet, using rules that just changed while you were asleep. And the 4 methods criminals use to drain your account. ATM skimming. Criminals install a tiny device over the card slot that reads and copies everything on your card's magnetic strip. At the same time, a hidden camera records your finger movements as you type your PIN. Criminals can then make a perfect copy of your card and know your code. With both pieces of information, they can take every dollar in your account from any ATM in the world. These skimming devices are manufactured in factories. They come with instruction manuals. Thieves can buy a professional-grade skimmer for less than $300. That $300 investment can yield tens of thousands of dollars before anyone notices. Zwei. ATM shimming. This is a newer version designed specifically to defeat chip cards. Instead of going over the card slot, thieves insert a paper-thin device directly into the ATM where your card goes. It sits between the machine's reader and your card's chip, capturing encrypted data during the transaction itself. Millions of Americans upgraded to chip cards believing they were safer. They are, but only partially. The shim intercepts data during the transaction itself. Jackpotting. This is the most sophisticated method. Criminals use physical access to the ATM combined with malicious software to force the machine to spit out all its cash at once. They may drill into the ATM or obtain master keys through bribery. Once inside, they install software that bypasses security protocols and commands the machine to dispense everything. In 2024, authorities uncovered a jackpotting ring that stole over $12 million from ATMs in 12 different states in a single month, hitting more than 40 machines in a single weekend. The criminals were caught, but not before millions disappeared into untraceable offshore accounts. Czwarty, social engineering fraud. Someone calls, texts, or emails you pretending to be your bank. They already know your name. They already know your account number. They sound completely legitimate, using your bank's official name, referencing your actual address, or the last 4 digits of your account. They convince you to give them remote access to your phone or computer, claiming they need to verify your identity or secure your account from a suspicious transaction. Once they have remote access, they can do anything: transfer money, change security questions, lock you out, empty your balance before you realize what happened. The Supreme Court ruling makes all 4 methods more dangerous. Banks now have more legal room to delay refunds, demand more documentation, and in some cases, deny liability entirely when customers don't follow specific security protocols most people don't even know exist. The trapdoors that can turn legitimate claims into denied refunds. The 48-hour rule. Most bank policies require you to report unauthorized transactions within 48 hours of noticing them. Miss that window, and the bank can legally reduce what they're required to refund you. Because of the Supreme Court ruling, federal minimum standards for this window have weakened. Some banks have extended their internal deadlines, sounding good, but actually meaning they can wait longer before responding. The merchant classification dispute. When a criminal uses your card at an ATM, the transaction often shows up not as a cash withdrawal, but as a purchase at a merchant. By the time you see the charge and recognize it as fraud, days or weeks may have passed, pushing you past the reporting window. The bank can then argue you should have recognized it earlier, and your delay contributed to the loss. The shared fault doctrine. Under the new Supreme Court interpretation, if a bank can show you contributed any way to the fraud, even in a minor technical sense, they can reduce or eliminate their liability. This could mean using a weak PIN, writing your PIN on a sticky note, using a public ATM instead of a bank branch ATM, or failing to opt into a specific security feature that was offered but not required. Here's the cruel irony. Banks aren't required to actively enroll you in their strongest security features. They're only required to make them available. So if you didn't go out of your way to activate every protection, the bank can use that against you. You are guilty until proven innocent in a system where you didn't even know there were rules. The documentation minefield. When you file a fraud claim, the bank can ask for enormous documentation, proof of residence, government ID, phone records, proof you didn't make the transaction from your own device. If you miss a single document deadline, your claim can be denied. And if you don't understand exactly what the bank needs, you can easily miss a requirement without knowing it. This is the system we're now operating in. The criminals have better technology. The rules give banks more protection. The burden of proof has shifted in ways most people have never heard of. Your complete protection protocol. Here is the system that cybersecurity experts and former law enforcement agents say is the most effective defense against these scams. 5 steps you can implement today, completely free, using tools you already have access to. Step 1, the wiggle test. Every time you approach an ATM, before you insert your card, grab the card slot firmly and pull upward. If it moves, if it feels loose, if anything seems wrong, walk away immediately and use a different machine. Criminals who install skimming devices have to attach them to the original machine, and the attachment point is almost always slightly loose. You can feel it if you know what to look for. Also, always cover your hand when typing your PIN, not because cameras might be watching, though they might. Cover your hand because heat signatures from your fingers on the keypad can be captured by thermal cameras from a distance, giving thieves another way to know your code. Use your body to block the view. Make it a habit, not an afterthought. No exceptions. Not even if you're in a hurry. Before inserting your card, take 2 seconds to look at the card slot closely. Is there anything sticking out? Is there a plastic overlay that looks slightly different in color or texture? Is there tape or glue residue around the edges? If anything looks even slightly off, go inside the bank and report it. Your report could save dozens of other customers from being victimized. Step 2, upgrade your card technology. Switch to a card with both a chip and a contactless payment option, a card you can tap to pay instead of inserting it. Contactless payments use completely different technology than chip insertion, and shimming devices cannot capture that data. The signal is encrypted differently and is much harder to intercept. Every major bank offers this for free. Call your bank today and make the switch. It takes 3 minutes and cuts your risk significantly. Use the contactless feature whenever possible. It is safer. Also, ask your bank about setting spending limits on your debit card. Many banks allow you to set a maximum daily withdrawal amount. If your card is compromised, this limit can prevent a criminal from draining your entire account in a single day. Step 3, enable real-time transaction alerts. Your bank should be calling or texting you every single time someone tries to move money out of your account, not just when you authorize it, but every attempt. Even if it turns out to be you making a legitimate transfer, you want to know the moment something is happening. This gives you a 30-second window to stop a fraudulent transaction before it completes. You can call your bank and freeze your account immediately while the criminal is still in the middle of their operation. That 30-second window is the difference between losing a few $100s and losing everything. Call your bank and ask specifically about real-time transaction alerts. Many banks offer this free, but they don't advertise it. You have to ask. And if your current bank doesn't offer this service, consider that as a factor in deciding whether to keep your money with them. Step 4, use a unique PIN. Never use the same PIN for your debit card that you use for anything else. If a thief gets your PIN from a thermal camera or shoulder surfing operation, and that same PIN opens your entire financial life, you have just given them everything. Use a different PIN for your debit card. Make it something with no connection to your birth date, address, phone number, anniversary, or anything that appears on your license or social media profiles. The best PIN looks random, but you can remember it. Also, change that PIN regularly, every 6 months at minimum. It would be extreme to lose everything because you didn't spend 30 seconds changing a 4-digit number. That's exactly why you should do it. Step 5, check your balance every morning. Set a calendar reminder right now to check your bank balance every single morning when you wake up. Not just to see what you have, to see if anything is missing. Look at every transaction from the previous day. If there's a charge you don't recognize, even for $1, call your bank immediately. Criminals often make a tiny test charge first to confirm your card works before draining the account. That $1 charge is your warning shot. Do not ignore it. A $1 test charge could be the signal that a criminal has your card information and is about to take everything. This is not about paranoia. This is about attention. Paying attention to your money every single day is the single most powerful defense against fraud. It takes less than 2 minutes, but it gives you the knowledge you need to stop a theft in progress. The secondary spending account strategy. There's a specific type of account structure that offers almost complete protection from these scams, and it takes less than 30 minutes to set up. Create a secondary spending account, keep the bulk of your savings in an account with no debit card attached and no ATM access. Then maintain a second account with a limited balance for daily spending. If a thief clones your spending account card, they can only take what's in that limited pool. Your real savings stays protected behind a wall they cannot reach. This is what wealthy people and smart business owners do. They never carry their primary wealth in an accessible form. They create layers. They create distance between their savings and points of vulnerability like ATMs and debit cards. Ask your bank about sub-accounts or secondary accounts. Most banks will allow this structure at no additional cost. Also, consider keeping a meaningful amount of your savings at a different institution entirely. Not because your current bank is bad, but because spreading your wealth across multiple institutions spreads your risk. A criminal who compromises one bank account cannot reach money held elsewhere. What's coming? AI and deepfake banking fraud. This threat is not going away. It's getting worse. Cybersecurity experts tell me that artificial intelligence is now being used to create more sophisticated ATM fraud schemes. AI programs can analyze ATM keypad layouts and predict which numbers are most likely to be used in PIN codes. They can study the physical movements of ATM users and identify patterns that make skimming devices more effective. Criminal organizations are using machine learning to adapt their techniques in real time. They test a new approach on a small scale, measure its success rate, refine it, and deploy it at larger scale. They are running continuous experiments on the American financial system, and they are getting better with every iteration. We are also seeing the emergence of deepfake banking fraud, criminals using AI-generated audio and video to impersonate bank officials during phone calls. They can now sound exactly like your bank calling from an official number, using your actual account information, asking you to verify yourself in ways that sound completely legitimate. Some victims have transferred money thinking they were talking to their own bank, only to realize days later they'd been scammed. This is a war. And right now, the other side is getting smarter faster than most people are getting safer. Your final defense checklist. This is what separates the people who get robbed from the people who stay protected. Every time you approach an ATM, perform the wiggle test. Pull on the card slot firmly before you insert anything. Every single time. No exceptions. Druhi, get a chip and contactless card from your bank. Make the call today. If your bank doesn't offer contactless options, consider whether you want to stay with a bank behind on security technology. Tricky. Turn on real-time transaction alerts. Demand them from your bank. If they refuse, consider switching banks. You should know within 30 seconds every time money moves from your account. Čtvrtý. Use a different PIN for your debit card than anything else. Make it random. Make it meaningless to anyone who doesn't know you. Change it every 6 months. Pátý. Check your balance every single morning. Look at every transaction from the previous day. A $1 charge you don't recognize could be the warning you need to stop a major theft. Šestý, create a secondary spending account. Keep your real savings inaccessible from your debit card. Create layers between your wealth and your points of vulnerability. Syvende, never give remote access to your phone or computer to anyone claiming to be from your bank. Hang up and call the number on the back of your card. Verify everything. Osmi. Report any suspicious ATM immediately to your bank and local police. Take photographs if possible. Your report could protect dozens of other people. Devati. Share this information with everyone you love. Every person with a bank account needs to hear this. Make it a conversation. Desati. Subscribe to this channel. The threats are evolving. The next update I release could be the one that stops a theft happening right now. America, we are at a turning point. The Supreme Court made a decision that affects your money. The banks are operating under new rules. The criminals have new technology. The rules are changing every single day. But you have something they cannot take away. You have the truth. You have the system. You have the knowledge to protect yourself and your family from the silent drain happening across this country right now. The criminals are counting on you being too busy, too distracted, or too trusting to notice what's happening. They are counting on your ignorance. They are counting on your assumption that someone else is looking out for you. Prove them wrong. Take action today. Not tomorrow. Today. Make one phone call. Set one alert. Change one PIN. Do something. Share this with everyone you know. Every person in your contact list who has a bank account needs to see this information. Your money is your life, and your life deserves a shield. Stay safe. Stay informed. Stay empowered.